All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hope you all are having a wonderful night. I am going to do a reaction to a video called The Rise and Fall of Dwight Howard. And this is from Nonstop. I'm going to go ahead and give that video a like there. I haven't covered Dwight Howard at all on this channel, and I think it's overdue. I know he kind of faded away in the second half of his career. But for those of you who remember the first half of his career, we ain't seen a dude like this in Shaq. Honestly, his career path was going right alongside, parallel to what Shaq was doing at a certain point. So he was a beast, you know. I believe multiple time, not just one, but multiple time Defensive Player of the Year. The guy was an absolute monster. So we're gonna check him out and talk about some memories of D Howard and see where he ended up. And yeah, as always, I'm going to stick the link to the video in the description down below if you want to watch it without my commentary. And for everybody else, if you do me a favor and leave this video a like, I'd really appreciate it. It helps a ton. It helps these videos out a ton to get out there. So thank you very much for liking the videos, guys. I appreciate it. Let's get right to this.
Dwight Howard is one of the best defensive players in NBA history and was the best center in the league for nearly a decade.
Yep.
But drama and bad decisions left blemishes on what looked to be an unquestioned Hall of Fame career. Here is the rise and fall of Dwight Howard. Road to the NBA. Some players are lucky to make the NBA, but Dwight Howard is lucky to be alive. Before he was born, his mother went through 7 miscarriages. So before Dwight could even walk, his mother knew he was special. In the 8th grade, he stood at just 5'10", but because he was skinny and agile, he actually played the point guard position. Then, in the blink of an eye, he hit a huge growth spurt that moved him closer to the basket. Dwight grew to 6'10", but he wasn't your regular low-post big man. Athletic, quick, and super bouncy, Dwight was like Andrew Garfield and Spider-Man, able to jump out of the gym and block everything in sight. In 2004 as a senior, Dwight went off and averaged 25 points, 18 rebounds, and an astonishing 8 blocks per game.
Did I hear that right? 18 rebounds?
25 points, 18 rebounds, and an astonishing 8 blocks per game.
8 blocks, 18 rebounds, 25 points? God damn.
That year, Howard led his team to a 31-2 record and a state title. He quickly became recognized as the best high school player in the country. After the success of his idols Kevin Garnett, Kobe, and LeBron, who all came to the NBA straight from high school, Howard decided to forego college and declared for the 2004 NBA draft. And at the age of 18, Dwight was selected as the first overall pick by the Orlando Magic. Quick rise to stardom. Before Dwight was drafted, the Orlando Magic franchise was a dumpster fire. They had finished with the worst record in the NBA. Grant Hill was constantly injured, and their biggest star, Tracy McGrady, left for Houston. So despite Howard's youth, skinny frame, and lack of involvement in the offense, their prized rookie pushed them to win 15 more games than the year before. With 12 points and 10 rebounds on average, Howard became the youngest player ever to average a double-double for the season. But he was just getting started. In the offseason, he never left the gym, and it showed. Dwight looked like he fell into an ocean of protein, and he added 20 pounds of muscle.
An ocean of protein. It's true, though, man. This guy was ripped. He was ripped.
Howard could no longer be pushed around in the post, and his averages improved to 16 points and 12 rebounds per game. Next year, Dwight again improved his numbers to 18 points and 12.5 rebounds. He became much more efficient around the basket, hitting over 60% of his field goals. But the most important improvement came on the defensive end. Dwight emerged as an elite pick-and-roll defender due to his lateral quickness and explosiveness. His newfound strength allowed him to contain all the behemoths in the post, while his quick feet enabled him to switch onto guards and reject their attempts at the rim. D12 got selected to his first All-Star game, named to the All-NBA third team, and the Magic would finally qualify for the playoffs. It's too bad they got swept in the first round.
There's little JJ Redick, Jameer Nelson, Vinny C.
But the team named Stan Van Gundy as the new head coach, a coach who would leave the biggest mark on Howard's career. Superman is in the building. In 2008, Shaq got old and fat, while Yao Ming was constantly injured. The good news is, there was a new sheriff in town, and his name was Dwight Howard. Under Stan Van Gundy, Dwight's offensive role increased, and he started to get more touches in the post. He averaged over 20 points per game for the first time in his career, along with a league-leading 14.2 rebounds.
That's disgusting.
And if anybody still didn't know who he was, as if they lived under a rock, they would know him after the All-Star game. At the slam dunk contest,
Oh yeah, this is disgusting. This whole thing is disgusting.
Dwight suited up as Superman and destroyed the rim in one of the most memorable showings in the history of this event. Superman was literally in the building, and Dwight became a superstar.
And Shaquille O'Neal is still sour about it.
And even though his post-ups looked robotic, and he missed a lot of free throws, Dwight was, without a question, the best center in the NBA, and he rightfully made the All-NBA first team. Orlando won 52 games that regular season, and for the first time since Shaq and Penny Hardaway's era in the 90s, they advanced through a round in the playoffs. After the NBA season was over, Dwight joined Team USA at the 2008 Olympics, where his athleticism and domination under the basket were even more pronounced. The Redeem team won the gold medal, and Dwight looked like he could become one of the best centers of all time. Finals run and defensive dominance. If there was a basketball laboratory for creating a perfect pick-and-roll defender, the final product would look like a 2009 Dwight Howard doppelganger. In 2009, the Magic had the best defense in the NBA, and their main strategy was to funnel everybody in the paint, where Dwight ruled supreme. Nobody could outpower Howard, outjump him, and only the fastest point guard could outrun him. Dwight averaged 3 blocks per game, and what he didn't block, he altered.
It reminds me of Wemby. You have to get so far ahead of him to be safe out of that block zone.
Orlando's painted area was like a haunted house. Opposing players started to avoid it when Dwight patrolled in the middle, resulting in an increased number of less effective mid-range shots. D12 would lead the league in blocks and rebounds to win the Defensive Player of the Year award almost unanimously. And offensively, his rebounding created 5 to 6 extra possessions per game. It also allowed Orlando to shoot a lot of threes and not to worry about the opponent's fast break.
Rashard Lewis. You guys remember Rashard Lewis? So they had JJ and Rashard. Good shooting backcourt. I forgot about that. And Turkoglu, he could hit those too.
Because they all had to rebound against Howard. But that's not all. Dwight also drew a ton of fouls, and Orlando's whole offense revolved around his athletic gifts. Because Howard was the most dangerous lob threat in the league, his presence alone opened a ton of space for the rest of the team. It wasn't pretty, but he was probably the second most effective player in the league, behind MVP LeBron James. The Magic won 59 games in the regular season, one shy of the franchise record. And in the playoffs, they got past the Sixers and the reigning champions, the Boston Celtics. The conference finals wouldn't be easy. The Magic faced LeBron and the best team in the regular season. LeBron averaged 38 points in the series, but Dwight stole the show. He put up a career-high 40 points and 14 rebounds in the deciding Game 6 to propel the Magic to the NBA Finals.
40 and 14 will do it.
Against Kobe and the Lakers, Orlando was clearly the underdog, but they weren't going down without a fight. Howard led them to victory in Game 3 and played maybe the most focused game of his life in Game 4, where he ended up with 21 rebounds and 9 blocks.
21 rebounds and 9 blocks. Yeah, time is not remembering Dwight Howard right. But, I mean, this is the first half of his career. Like I said, first half of his career, this guy was one of the greatest I've ever seen.
Van Gundy even said, if he played like that every game, the whole NBA was in trouble. But unfortunately for Stan and Orlando, Dwight's focus fluctuated like the tide. The Lakers won the series in 5 games, but the future still seemed extremely bright for Orlando and their superstar center. In the next season, Dwight led the NBA in blocks, rebounds, and field goal percentage, winning another Defensive Player of the Year and first-team All-NBA honors. The Magic won 59 games again, but despite a formidable performance from Dwight, they would lose in the conference finals to the Celtics. In the 2011 season, Dwight averaged a career-high 23 points per game, along with 14 rebounds and 2.5 blocks. He became the first player in NBA history to win the Defensive Player of the Year 3 times in a row.
3 times in a row. I sold him short. 3 in a row. Yeah, but yeah, he deserved it.
row. Howard also
guy was
finished
a monster.
second in MVP voting behind Derrick Rose. But despite the gaudy numbers and individual awards, it was becoming clearer that Dwight is not a leader. His body language was often bad, and he wasn't mad if the team underperformed, as long as he got his numbers. Yes, he blocked a lot of shots, but he'd often spike them into the third row, instead of keeping possession for his team. He was smiling on the court and having a good time, but it often seemed like he cared more to look good and have fun than to win. Orlando's team chemistry eroded, and they lost in the first round of the playoffs. After the 2012 season, Dwight was set to become a free agent, and he was publicly criticizing Van Gundy for the lack of touches in the post, despite being an average post scorer. Their relationship became really awkward, and in a desperate attempt to retain Howard, the Magic fired Van Gundy at the end of the season.
Yeah, that whole thing was criminal. I remember that so well. And then Dwight Howard tried to pretend like everything was all good, but Stan he knew that Dwight Howard was actively trying to get him fired. So he wasn't staying silent about it, but Dwight Howard was just pretending like he didn't do a damn thing and everything was cool. But really behind the scenes, he was trying to get his coach fired. Ring a bell? He went to LeBron James method, man. That's the LeBron James approach.
Howard got his wish, but he still wanted to leave, so he asked for a trade.
Imagine that, and that's also, I think that Lebowko would do. So they did what he wanted. They fired the coach, and then he still leaves. Imagine that. That's why you don't cater to these kind of people. You know, they'll never be happy.
Landed with the Lakers, who formed a super team with Dwight, Kobe, Gasol, and Steve Nash. The Lakers fiasco and life on the move. The LA Lakers in 2013 were supposed to bulldoze through opponents, like Miley Cyrus in a wrecking ball. But many things backfired in that master plan. Steve Nash was hurt for half the season. Mike D'Antoni was a horrible fit for their team.
A little tidbit. If you guys want to know why Kobe hated Dwight Howard, Kobe came out and said it, where he said the very first phone call between him and Dwight Howard immediately asked Kobe, "Hey, where are the cool hot spots in LA to hang out? Like, what are the cool clubs to go hang out in?" And that's when Kobe was like, "Oh shit, like this guy's here for fun. He's here for Hollywood. You know, he's not here to win. He's here for fucking Hollywood." So it does play into the narrative that he just wanted to have fun and he wasn't really playing to win. It's true. From behind the scenes, it's true.
And Pau Gasol was misused. But the biggest issue was Dwight. D12 didn't heal up properly from a back surgery that ended his last season in Orlando, so he could no longer fly in the air, dunking and blocking everything in sight. Air Howard was forced to fly slower and lower, which was never Dwight's strength. Then his maturity was another big issue. His childish antics and goofy jokes irritated the hell out of Kobe and Nash. Dwight was still good enough to lead the NBA in rebounds and make the All-Star team. But after Kobe injured his Achilles, the Lakers were doomed.
Yep.
Dwight was no longer the Superman who could save them. In the offseason, he chose to move to Houston instead of staying in LA and waiting for Kobe to get healthy. With Howard and James Harden, the Rockets had a superstar duo. The only problem was, they hated each other. Harden quickly grew tired of Howard's personality, and Dwight complained that he didn't get the ball enough, which,
I mean, to be fair, that's two really crappy teammates together. I don't know anybody who ever enjoyed playing with James Harden either. Nobody has a nice thing to say about him that ever played with him. So, yeah, they kind of deserved each other for that little stint.
was starting to become a tradition. Still, their team had a lot of talent. They were winning games, and they made it to the conference finals in 2015. But after a disappointing 2016 campaign, the relationship between the two stars became unbearable, and Howard had to leave. Over the next 3 years, Dwight would play for Atlanta, Charlotte, and Washington. Everywhere he went, he arrived with big expectations. He made promises that he'd stay there forever, and that he was committed to winning. But in the end, it was all empty promises.
He was committed to cashing in that check, man, at this point. So it looks like by the time he injured his back, that was it. Like, he just, whatever he cared, whatever bit about him that cared, it just ended there. And then it was just about, it was about the paycheck and having fun, because he's living that NBA lifestyle. But yeah, he never quite got back there, and he never had that hunger. I remember by the time he was playing in LA, the second stint, I couldn't even recognize him. Not just visually, but like he didn't have like the big muscles anymore. he wasn't aggressive on offense or defense. It was like he was just taking up space.
Because Dwight's effort, focus, and physicality were a rare sight. He'd give some rah-rah motivational speech in the locker room about playing hard, and then play the softest,
right,
being the least physical player on the court. Dwight had officially gone from a top defensive player into all-star.
Oh, this is good.
Locker room celebrating when he got traded. By 2019, Howard was out of the league, and nobody wanted to sign him. LA redemption. Before the 2019-20 season, Dwight had given a bunch of interviews where he criticized himself and his approach to the game. He said that he was willing to do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Problem is, we already heard that 100 times before.
Yeah.
But then he posted pictures of his shredded body, claiming that he was in the best shape of his life. A picture is worth 1,000 words, so the Lakers gave him one last shot and signed Dwight on a non-guaranteed deal.
It reminds me of what Ben Simmons keeps doing in the offseason with his shooting videos that he keeps putting out in the summer. We're due for one in about a month or so here. We should probably expect that to happen. So he like oils himself up and he looks all shredded. And he also looks like they use Photoshop to like expand him so he looks buffer than he really is. Oh man. And then they show him icing a bunch of jumpers and then the regular season starts and he's got nothing. He's the same fucking Ben Simmons. Oh dude. Yeah. So it looks like Dwight Howard did that crap too. It's a good way to get a paycheck though. If you're good with being a liar, and that's who you want to be, I mean, fine. He made a lot of money doing it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do that crap and then like look at my peers in the face, my teammates, my coaches, the organization, knowing that I just lied to them and hustled them for millions of dollars. And don't say he needed the money. The guy was filthy rich at this point. You know, at this point he had a generational wealth. Generational wealth. Live a fun life and have enough for like all of your family to live off of and be rich as well. So he's just a hustler.
All had doubts about Dwight, but for once, he proved to be a man of his word. Finally, at the tail end of his career, Dwight has become the role player he should have been 5 years sooner. He was rebounding, moving the ball, and protecting the rim with no drama whatsoever. Dwight was also a valuable piece on the Lakers team that won the 2020 NBA title and was finally an NBA champion. Legacy. You can say many bad things about Dwight's career. You can say that he had no technique, and his offense consisted of nothing more than dunks, alley-oops, and putbacks. That his footwork was awkward, and his jump hooks looked like he was throwing a big rock over a cliff. Sure, he had no outside shot and was a poor passer. None of that changes the fact that Howard is approaching 20,000 points in the NBA, joining only 50 other players in history with that achievement. Dwight has also made 8 All-NBA teams, 5 of which were first teams. Only 28 other players in NBA history have more than 8 selections, all of which are NBA legends and Hall of Famers. Howard is top 10 all-time in total rebounds, and is likely going to end his career in the top 5. He's also going to end in the top 10 in total blocks, joining the rarefied air of Tim Duncan and Kareem, who are the only 2 other players in the top 10 in both rebounds and blocks.
Wow, Tim Duncan. I mean, Kareem, I expected it, but Tim Duncan, damn.
A lot of the negativity about his legacy is based on perception and expectations. Dwight wanted to be like Shaq, so we compared him to O'Neal. But he didn't have Shaq's finesse and killer instinct to carry a team offensively. Kobe once said that he appreciated Shaq more once he played with Dwight. But on the other hand,
Bird, man.
Shaq wasn't as good of a defender as Dwight, would be a perfect center for the modern era of basketball. Howard was essentially Rudy Gobert before Rudy Gobert, and his resume speaks for itself. Dwight is going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He is one of the 15 best centers ever, and one of the 100 best players of all time.
Good video. First of all, yeah, he's definitely should be in the Hall of Fame eventually. I'm not sure if he's still active in Asia, playing ball, but last I checked in on him, he was. So someday when he retires, he's definitely going to get in the Hall of Fame. He deserves it. I know I have some harsh words about him, but that's just because I don't like liars. I don't like manipulators and cheaters. Y'all know that about me. So I like to call that crap out for what it is. As far as the first half of his career, one of the greatest centers I've ever seen. One of the most fun centers that I've ever watched. on both ends, offense and defense. The guy was just an absolute beast, an absolute monster, and I'm glad I got to watch him in his prime. All right, everybody. I'll get back to my night, and I'll let you all get back to your night. Let me know what you thought about the video. Let me know what you thought about Dwight in his prime, and then what you thought about Dwight in the later half, the second half of his career. And hell, let me know if I was right or wrong. Is he still playing professional ball in Asia? Yeah. All right, everybody. I appreciate you all. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more. I'll see you all tomorrow morning for the next one. And yeah, have a wonderful night, okay? Peace out.